Pinfluencer, the podcast for digital product experiences.
Well, hello there, and welcome to another episode of Pinfluencer. This is the podcast where we delve into the world of product information management, PIM, and explore some real-life success stories. I'll be your host today, Cullen Walsh. I'm sales representative here at Contentserv. Today, we have a special guest joining us from the Running Industry Association, Terry Schalow. Terry, if you could please introduce yourself and maybe provide some background on the Running Industry Association, that would be great.
Yeah, of course, Cullen, and thank you for having me today. The Running Industry Association is a trade organization that supports the run specialty channel of trade. And so our job is to provide connection between our members, which consist of retailers, the brands that sell to those retailers, and then third parties that provide whatever, services that brands and retailers require, like POS brands, third-party e-com platforms, and things like that. So that's our membership consists of those three groups, and what we try to provide is a collaborative atmosphere, connection. We do professional development, we do an annual membership summit, and the tools that help all of our members get better at what they do. So improving their business platforms, improving their business skills, and allowing them to compete in the larger marketplace. So our partnership with Contentserv is going to be a big part of that conversation going forward.
Great. Thank you, Terry, for the overview there, and great to have you here. So yeah, let's dive into our discussion a little bit. Maybe could you give us a bit of a rundown on RIA situation before PIM and some of the previous processes for managing that product data before implementing Contentserv?
Well, to be quite honest, previous to working with Contentserv and providing a workable solution, there was no solution. And the issue was surrounding the management of brand product data. Retailers require that to be able to use their POS systems and other third-party systems that I mentioned before, like an e-com platform or perhaps a digital marketing platform. They are all driven by brand product data. So retailers were required to go out and secure that data one brand at a time, in whatever way the brand provided it. Maybe it was a B2B site, maybe they had to ask the reps, but it was cumbersome just trying to secure the data. And because the data came in a myriad of different formats, each retailer would have to then format that data and then consolidate it all into their assortment plan, and then format it for whatever third-party system they were using so they could upload it appropriately. So a very time-consuming process. And what does time usually mean? Money. And so very, very expensive for our retailers to manage. And that was a problem. And so we came in and tried to provide a solution.
Great. Thank you, Terry, for providing that overview. It's definitely evident that RIA was facing some significant challenges in managing that product data efficiently. So it's good to see that the process and this commitment to innovation that you all have, we really applaud that. And, it's going to definitely help you stand out in the industry. So moving forward, what were some of the challenges specifically that brands were facing managing the product data before partnering with Contentserv? Would there be maybe couple of reasons you could point to there in terms of reasons why the brands or some of the challenges that they were facing?
Well, for brands, so if the retailers had to go get it from the brands, that means the brands had to respond to individual retailers. And maybe they put it up on their B2B site. But one of the problems there was retailers would go grab the data, they would format it themselves. And what did that typically mean? That means that it was ripe for mistakes. Data would get corrupted. And so the product data that brands would present, oftentimes it could be a keystroke error or a retailer deciding that they wanted to format the data in a different way. Now, suddenly, what the retailer is using is not consistent with the brand's product data. And if they're trying, for example, to push a sale to a retailer online. So, for example, if Cullen goes online and says, I want to buy this shoe from this brand in this size, and you're on the brand's website, and the brand says to you, hey, Cullen, it's available at Joe's Running Store just around the corner. You can go pick it up there. Well, that's great because the brand's data is connected with the POS data in the store. But if that POS data is somehow corrupted that the store has, then the brand cannot see that that retailer has that product in stock to allow Cullen to go pick it up in store and push that sale to a retailer. So the retailer or the brand's desire to have the retailers included in e-com sales would get stymied by the fact that the data wasn't connected. And so what we're going to do is create a consistent data set across all platforms, so those cross-functional efficiencies are created and sales actually happen.
Gotcha. And thank you, Terry, for sharing that as well. It's definitely interesting to hear how these, you were approaching these challenges of kind of streamlining the process of communication between brands and retailers. So we're really happy to have helped you to overcome that a little bit and kind of streamline that entire process. So
to be honest, I can't overstate it, Colin. I mean, I don't think it's hyperbole to say that this could be a transformative platform. And, we are just in the process of rolling it out. So it's still pretty new. But the fact that your average retailer, we did a study that showed the average retailer was spending, in terms of managing product data and paying someone to do it, was spending over $30,000 a year. We think that with our platform that we're calling the Product Data Collaborative, this clearinghouse of sorts, the cost going forward will be a fraction, perhaps less than 10% of what they're paying right now. So this, to say it's transformative in both how brands and retailers do business with each other, but also creating the efficiencies within those business models, this is a big deal.
Absolutely. So thank you again, Terry, for sharing that. And outside of just the benefits that you would derive from just the efficiency, are there any specific reasons that RIA chose to move forward with Contentserv's PIM solution specifically? Or maybe is there anything that you could shed some light on there in terms of why you all decided to go with Contentserv ultimately?
Well, sure. We actually, and Colin, you're aware of this, we actually thought about trying to build it ourselves, but then realized managing product data and all the forms that it comes is an incredibly complex task. And once we were connected with Contentserv and your team was able to show us how robust the model is, and obviously it's where you're customizing a lot of the functionality, but the basic format was there. And this is what you do, is create PIMs. And data management is just the foundational premise. In terms of, product data and data management, whether it be applied in this fashion or it'll be used in the future with AI-based tools to reach our customers, we're at the starting point. And Contentserv understands that, and Contentserv already has a robust model. Plus, the team was so great to work with from the very start, and they've continued to be great to work with. So we're incredibly pleased with the fact that, we were able to meet the folks at Contentserv, and that introduction came from one of our brands that's using Contentserv, and then work with you guys personally. And it's just been a real pleasure. It's complex. It's not without its challenges, but anytime you're doing something that is this complex, it's going to have challenges. But Contentserv has managed those challenges at every turn and overcome them, and it's just been fantastic to see this whole thing progress.
Thank you, Terry. It's great feedback. Moving on here, I guess you touched on it a little bit with the cost savings there, with about $30K a year, just cost savings through implementing a PIM. Outside of that, were there any specific KPIs or metrics that you all were looking at to kind of maybe understand a little bit better the tangible benefits of Contentserv to RIA? Would there be anything there that you'd point to in terms of KPIs?
Well, certainly the cost savings is the biggest one, and that's time savings as well. And for our retailers, that's huge. I guess our KPI is going to be engagement. And engagement these days is a challenge. Whether or not retailers have an efficient way of managing brand product data or not, they still like to do things the way they'd like to traditionally do them. So to get someone to change, even if it makes complete sense, some people won't do it because they don't have the time to really engage and think about it, even if it doesn't take a lot of time. You've got to convince them that it's worth their time to sit down, and this is a very intuitive and user-friendly interface, but they still have to sit down and figure out how to use it. our job and the KPIs for success for us is engagement, one store at a time, one store, a second, a third, a fourth, until the majority of our membership is using the platform and using it successfully. And so that's for us, for the RIA, it's just member engagement. That's going to be our key KPI.
Understood. Thank you, Terry. And it's definitely impressive to hear about some of those, some of the benefits that RIA has been able to realize through the partnership together with us at Contentserv, and some of the things that you all are planning to accomplish in the future. So it's definitely exciting to hear about that. And speaking to that, looking ahead, what are your goals for the next 6 to maybe 12 months in terms of leveraging Contentserv to enhance your overall product data management process?
Well, it like any type of, I guess, software introduction, if you will, there's version 1.0. This will be version 1.0, which is going to be a phased rollout where we're going to have certain functionalities built into it that will be the foundational functionalities that our retailers want to see. An example of that would be they want the UPC style and color code stuff that's on an Excel spreadsheet. And that's what we'll deliver to them right out the gate. But then down the road, we're going to filter in product images. We're going to have image files built into this. We'll have product descriptions filtered in. We'll have advertising pricing policies filtered into this. So at each stage of the game, we will phase in added functionality and added, I guess, content into the platform as we go. But the first stage will be rolling out what most of our retailers want, which is being able to go into the system, select their seasonal product assortments, and with a touch of a button, have that downloaded into a template that is configured with their POS systems for easy upload into their POS systems. That's the functionality that most of our retailers want. For others that we'll call super users that have a huge need for, like entire brand catalogs, say they've got an e-com platform, we will meet their needs down the road. But for most of the retailers right now, the fundamental need is managing their, for lack of a better term, the brand product data that comes in an Excel sheet. And that's what we'll roll out. And then in future versions, again, more features. So we're excited about that because this is going to evolve. There'll be a 2.0, 3.0, and so on.
Great. That's exciting to hear, and kind of how the process will go and how this is going to drive efficiency for your member network, for your brands and retailers. So it's definitely great to hear about the proactive approach you all are taking, leveraging Contentserv's capabilities to further enhance your product data management processes. And it really speaks volumes about your dedication there to improvements and to supporting your brand and retailer members there at the RIA. So thank you, Terry, for the feedback there. And it's been a pleasure having you today on the show, Terry. And thank you again for joining. We really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate your partnership, Cullen, and the entire team at Contentserv has been fantastic to work with. And, we're looking forward to a great partnership going forward. So, and thanks for having me on, and appreciate the chance to tell our story. And we're looking forward to the future.
Of course. Likewise. Thank you, Terry. Again, to our listeners, thank you for joining us on another episode of PIMfluencer. Stay tuned for the next episode for more real-world success stories and insights in the world of product information management. Until next time.
This was PIMfluencer, the podcast for digital product experiences. More information can be found on www.contentserv.com.